Welcome back to the By Design podcast. I'm your host, Ronnie Knuckles, and today I've got an awesome guest, Daniel Stanton with Helper Dumpster Rentals in Lafayette, Indiana. Made a little over 3-hour drive.
Just a hair.
Yep. A little over 3-hour drive yesterday to come down and be on the show kind of last second. We had a guest who had an emergency, had to back out, and Daniel came down. If you are in the dumpster rental world, you likely know Daniel. He has got a YouTube channel. He's recently become TikTok famous a little bit. He's grown his TikTok following pretty significantly, and he's got a story to tell. And I wanted to bring him on the show today, not necessarily to talk just about dumpster rentals. Of course, that's what his business is, but to tell his story. And it's a story of resilience and faith and growth in all areas. And I think it's going to bring a lot of hope to the people that are listening. And man, I'm excited to get into it. So without further ado, we'll start the conversation. I hope you guys enjoy. So, man, first of all, thanks for coming down. I know that was a bit of a drive.
Absolutely. It worked out perfectly. Timing went well. And divine appointment, just making things happen.
Yeah,
so I'm grateful.
Just so you guys know, I text Daniel. We had a cancellation last second, and I was like, hey, dude, can you come down on Thursday and hop on the show? And he was like, yeah, I could probably do that. And then he was like, well, what about tomorrow? We've got some bad storms coming in. He's like, well, what about tomorrow? And I'm like, yeah, but we're going to have some tornado threats later in the day, so we'd have to do it early. And he's like, well, what if I just drive down right now, and then we'll just record first thing in the morning? And I was like, do it, dude. We got a pull-out couch and a TV. So anyway, Daniel made the trip. We're down to Kentucky yesterday, and we set everything up. So I want this to be, I want you to have an opportunity to tell your story, man. I mean, I know kind of the behind the scenes, but, I want to get to that. And so I kind of want to start at the beginning, man. So tell me about you. What was it like for you growing up? I know you're from Indiana, but paint the picture for me, man.
Yeah. I've grown up and lived in Indiana my whole life. I grew up in a broken home at 9 years old. My parents divorced. Pretty ugly transition. Kind of really grows you up pretty quick. Mm-hmm. Going through that and picking up some bad habits, some not good responses from learning from your parents as they try to navigate that. I've got an older brother, 5 years older than me, and I was the annoying little brother who was always bugging him and harassing him. When he was trying to do the right thing, do his homework, do stuff, I was the annoying brother throwing pillows at him, chucking stuff into his room, slamming the door, run back to my room, slam my door, lock my door, hope he doesn't break the door down, and just pummel me. And it was. It was a good time.
Have you seen that Instagram clip where it's like, when you have an older sibling and then the brother's just standing at the door and then he smacks all the stuff off the nightstand and farts and shuts the door and walks out? That's what you were doing?
No, I was notorious. It was pretty rough. He let me live, and I'm grateful for it. But we had a good time growing up. We did sports and things. It was a good time for the most part, and we made it. So
good. You're a football guy, I'm assuming.
Yeah. So I played football in middle school, 8th grade, and then all of high school. Then I also wrestled. After
I would not want to wrestle you, bro.
Well, it was something for a little bit there. 8th grade. Nobody knows what they're doing in middle school wrestling. Yeah. They're just what? And I was a bigger guy. So I was, it's kind of the circle, you get up to the weight class where you're just kind of a big circle, and whatever circle falls on the other one usually wins the match, and they just kind of lay on each other, and nobody knows what they're doing. So I got into high school, definitely getting into weightlifting freshman year and going through that, and getting to know and learn some skills and get some real strength. And by the end of high school, I was in the 1,000-pound club, bench, squat, and clean. Yeah. And that was cool. Yeah. I think I was like the second strongest guy in the school with like 1,000 people. roughly in there. So,
and they did this based on your how much weight you could put up.
Yep. Your max for those three things, and so that was cool. I literally got the T-shirt to prove it at home, but so that was cool. But growing up. I specifically to kind of get into my situation. I was eating very poorly. As many of us do, at least in America. A lot of processed foods, a lot of fried foods, a lot of just everything going on, and that has played a role in my story as things have kind of unfolded in my life. So I was definitely big because. I did eventually gain a lot of muscle and go through all that. I considered playing college football. My senior year in high school, though, my left foot actually, for lack of a better term, it folded with all of my weight on it and the weight of another guy on it. And so it popped to where all the ligaments that connect from your other four toes to your big toe, and then it builds from there, I guess, snapped basically. And so they had to put a tight rope into my foot. That ended my season for my senior year in wrestling, which is at the end of the year. And at that point I was like, listen, dude, I just want to heal my foot and be able to walk and not be, someday with my kids or grandkids or whatever, like I want to be able to like be available. So I was originally thinking college football, but I'm like, maybe not.
That happens twice, and you're going to be in real bad shape.
So
after high school, obviously you're married now. When did you start? You got married. Did you get married and then start the dumpster rental business, or was it vice versa?
Yeah. So I actually considered doing the dumpster business 2 or 3 times before I officially started it. And at the time, I was not married yet, but basically at the beginning of getting married is when I basically went into it. And started off with one dump trailer, didn't know what I was doing, I tried.
We never do when you start.
Bro, I mean, you just, you don't even know what you don't know yet.
Go back to episode 2 and listen to that. That's exactly what I said.
Bro.
You just don't know, man.
And so, I just told at the time my girlfriend at the very, very beginning, my wife Kara now, I just said, hey, I don't know what this looks like. I don't know if this is going to blow up in my face. I don't know anything, but I want to come to you and say, hey, are you all in on this with me? I'm not going to do something without my wife or at the time, even my girlfriend's support. Like, I'm in it to win it. And so, I need to know. And so she was like, I don't know anything just like you, but I'm all in if you're in. And I'm like, that's great, man. We're off to the races, bro. We already won. Let's go. That's
a big thing for entrepreneurs. It's, if you have a spouse or a girlfriend that you're intending to marry, which if you have a girlfriend and you're not intending to marry her, maybe move on. But anyway, that's another conversation. If they are bought in, it's a complete game changer, man. My wife, quietly, like she's bought in to what we're doing. She believes in me, and she's not running my books or she's not in the business, and some wives are, and that's super cool. But she, she's handling the home. She's raising our kids, and she's pouring into me and encouraging me behind closed doors. And man, I can't imagine where I would be with a spouse that wasn't that way. I don't know how and most businesses that have spouses or family that don't support them really, really, really struggle. And the ones that succeed typically have, if you're in a relationship, they have supportive spouses. That are behind the scenes pouring into them. So that's a blessing, man. That's a blessing that your wife was willing to do that.
Unbelievable. And I would say the same thing. Kara, she, as I learn and, things have blown up in my face, I'm like, well, there goes all the profit I just made. I've got to fix this new thing, or I've got to do this. I found out there's another area that I haven't even been touching yet in the business. And she's just been very understanding and, as patient as somebody who's just watching some fool just become not a fool in the situation. So very grateful.
When did you start the business?
So it was late 2019. Okay. But it was a very slow trajectory at the beginning.
Well, yeah, dude, that was right. COVID was just a few months after. Tough time.
I didn't, when I say I started that, I created the LLC. I didn't even have a dump trailer yet. I didn't have anything. I wasn't, so it took several actual months before I actually had a rental after that winter time. So, yeah, that was a tough time. We had started Sergeant Junkin in 2018. Hit a lick in 2019, and I thought, okay, we're going in the right direction. And then, boom, COVID hit, and I'm like, all right, back to square one. Actually, probably worse off than square one. With we had a lot of obligations and stuff at that point. But anyway, well, hey, man, it's great that you got through. That's a powerful lesson in itself. Just to be able to, you start a business, but you have a vision, and it's strong enough to push you through several months of not having a rental, because you know what the goal is. And, we can get into this if you'd like, but it seems to me from the outside looking in that you guys are doing pretty good. You're sustainable. You're on a growth trajectory in spite of even the things you've been dealing with, which is going to be kind of the meat and potatoes of the show, I'm sure. But, I think that's just a testament of a lot of people get in and they're like, they see these guys that are crushing, and they're like, well, that's going to be me. And then 6 months in, they've only had 2 or 3 rentals, and then they're like, this ain't going to work. And then they jump out, or they take out loans to pay for marketing, and then it just gets crazy. And then the guys that actually stay the course, keep bumping their heads and bleeding and keep letting things blow up in their face and continue down the path. Those are the guys that eventually, I'm not saying they're all millionaires, but they break through. Sure. Yep. They break through and create a sustainable business. To that, a part of this journey that this mentality, and I wasn't intentional. It is how I operate in my life, across the board. Health-wise, business-wise, everything. And I think it maybe stems from back in the old days in high school with physical trouble, physical exercise and stuff, doing the sports and stuff that I've gone through. But with the slow startup, with the dumpster business, there was the thought in my mind, it never actually happened where I was like, man, is this going to work? That question, to be honest, I don't think I ever asked that. It was, when is this going to work? I'm going to find a way. I will win. It's just when.
Right.
It's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's powerful. And I always, when we're talking with the guys and the team, it's like, I have a problem with people when they say, well, I'm going to try this and see if it works. I'm going to try it out, see if it works. And I'm like, why don't you just do it? Why don't you just assume that it's going to work and say, I'm going to do this, not I'm going to try this. It's a small thing, when you hear it, but there's a very distinct difference between, well, I'm going to try to start a junk removal or a dumpster rental business and just see if it works out, than to go, I'm going to start a junk removal or a dumpster rental business and it's going to work out. Yeah. The mentality is a complete shift. So I want to kind of fast forward, and I want to tell a little bit of a story for a second. I want this show to be yours, but I want to tell this story. So, for those of you that don't know, I mean, by now I'm sure if you've gotten through 2 episodes, you know at least a little bit. We introduced Spearcrest Digital in the second episode. So I own a digital marketing agency and a junk removal business. I don't really run the junk removal business anymore. Tim, the guy who set the camera up that we're looking at, he's the guy that runs that. He's the other owner. I'm completely focused on the digital marketing side now. And so I started this marketing business that was tailored to junk removal, dumpster rental business owners. And I don't know where you found me, but maybe Facebook, at some point you had reached out. And you were like, hey, dude, my website is awful. And I'm not going to call out the people that built it because I have a great relationship with them. They're awesome. Okay. They have a good operating system on the back end and all that. But, they're not website builders. So you had reached out and you have an awesome YouTube channel. You've grown it. I mean, look, you've put in work. It's not at 100,000 followers. No. It's not at 50 like your TikTok. But look, man, you've got a really good following of people who are engaged. You know what I mean? So you've done a good job of putting that together. And so anyway, you had reached out and so we start talking and you're like, hey, what if I start bringing you on the show in exchange for this website. And that was the first time anybody had ever asked that. And I thought, man, that's kind of interesting. I just wanted to do it to see if it would work. And I owe a debt of gratitude to you for that, because it gave us an opportunity to hop on, once or twice a month and just talk about what even is SEO. I mean, we have all these scammy SEO agencies out here ripping people off, and listen, man, we've been accused of that too. So, but some of it is legit. I mean, some people are actually getting ripped off, but you gave us a platform to come into an industry that we were tied into and start talking about that. And then through that, we built our relationship up and really became friends, more outside of, we built your website. We started having conversations, real conversations. And then, through you, we got invited down to the Lone Star Dumpster Showcase. And bro, that if we hadn't done that, our 2024 would have looked a lot different.
Really?
I think we ended up, out of the show, we only landed 4 or 5 new clients. We brought 4 or 5 new clients on that were at the show, but for the 2 consecutive months following the show, we brought on 18 new clients.
Bro, let's go.
Wow. And so I owe a debt of gratitude to you for that, because look, man, it's as simple as, hey, come on the show, dude. And people are watching, whether or not they're engaging, they're watching. And so you gave us that opportunity. And so we had built this relationship. And you'd gotten us connected to some really awesome people in the industry, Josh, and even some other marketing agencies that I had known of, and Magnate, those guys. We got to meet them at the show. We got to meet a lot of our clients at the show, which was really cool. So we get through that, and then a couple months later, you had reached out to me with some news, and I didn't know all the details. You'd kind of just lightly, you were still trying to figure it out. Okay. And I don't want to ruin the news. I'm going to let you tell the story. But you had lightly reached out, and then, for a month or 2 after, eventually you were like, hey, let's hop on a call. I want to tell you what's going on. And then you tell me what's going on. And, of course, today we start the podcast, and I'm like, and I've watched it. There were times where I was engaged and other times where I was like, he might not want to talk about this, bro. He talks about it all day long. But when the opportunity came up for the podcast, I was going to have you on some episodes down the line. And of course we had that last minute, somebody had to take care of some family stuff. And I'm like, maybe God's saying you need to start here. You're a guy that has supported us. You've believed in us. When you didn't have any, there's no skin in the game for you. I mean, you got a website, but you could have paid for the website. You really had no skin in the game. You didn't know who I was. I could have been a bad SEO guy. You were kind of taking a risk. And so I wanted to, in my way of returning the favor, was like, hey, bro, let's tell this unfiltered story. So I want to back up, and we'll start with, you're running the dumpster rental business. You got a new website. It's rocking, all that. We've been on the show. We built a relationship. Tell me the story of when, first of all, you can tell the audience what the news was, and then kind of walk through that journey.
Yeah. So on my, let me back up a little further. November, October, somewhere in there of 2024, I admitted to myself, your health is not well. Things are not going the right direction. I initially went to, I haven't had a primary care doctor in a decade, maybe just after high school. And I have not been back. I've only gone to like urgent care or something to get some medication for like bronchitis or some type of, something. Just give me some pills and go.
Yeah.
But my overall health, at my highest weight, I was 390. I'm basically a small, family's worth.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'2".
Big dude.
390, 6'2". I was a lineman back in high school, and go figure, I was the heavyweight wrestler in high school as well. The weight class is up to 275. There's even times during high school where I had to cut weight to get down to 275. Like, bro, that is like, I can say like, oh, it's muscle weight. Like, it ain't all muscle weight, dude. It ain't the same, bro.
Yeah. Different.
And so, I at my highest weight, 390. We're talking arthritis in my hands, my joints all over the place, just feeling just crummy. I guaranteed, well, I believe, having, at the time, I assumed I was diabetic. I assumed, because I would have the immediate food coma, the crash, the sugar rush, all these things, heart palpitations throughout the day, especially getting in and out of the truck or doing any manual labor stuff with dumpsters or scraping out frozen dumpsters in Indiana.
I see so many people talking about that, dude. Yeah, I'm sure it happens here. We don't run dumpsters, but
it's a great time.
Yeah, in the wintertime, it's always funny. How do I get the ice out of my dumpster?
Bro, frozen deer carcasses.
I don't even.
Bro. It's not right, dude. How are we doing this to people? I don't know. What are we? Anyways, so just overall health, just insane. 4X t-shirts, 46, I think up to 48-inch waistline. I'm wearing a parachute. I mean, seriously, that's where I'm at. And so, just my overall health, just poorly suffering, and all the while, my family, my wife, even friends that are a little skittish to say anything, they're kind of beating around the bush in the most loving way possible, saying little comments here and there. Hey, like, are you okay? Like, are you sure you don't need to go to the gym? Are you sure you don't need to do something? What's going on here? Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't really care. Well, the truth is, it doesn't matter until you care. Like, nobody can force you to do anything. Yeah. And so it has to be your decision what you do. And I just didn't care, and I knew it. And I even told my wife that a couple times. I'm like, first of all, I'm grateful that you actually care and love me. I mean, that's fantastic. But I don't really care about what I'm doing because I have to focus on my business. I've got to do what I got to do. And we can get into that a little bit later. But
we were talking about that. Yeah.
But basically, I finally decided, I was like, listen, dude, I feel miserable throughout the day. I have low energy all the time. I'm not getting good rest. I'm not anything. And things are not going right. And so I went to my wife's primary care doctor, and for the first time, and I sat him, we sat down, and he's like, what can I do for you? I said, well, I need to lose weight, and I'm not trying to be dramatic. I wouldn't doubt it if I have cancer, if I have diabetes, if I have everything. And he gives me a little smirk like, okay, he's being dramatic. I'm like, no, I'm like serious. Like, I wouldn't doubt it if I have all that. Mm-hmm. And I am accountable for what I have done or not done for my body and my health and everything else. And so this is accountability time. It's time to make things happen. And I will do whatever it takes to make things happen. So did a follow-up visit. And on that visit, I came in with a bump on my skin. And he thought it was like a wart.
How many months down the line are we talking?
That was like 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay, so pretty close.
I had started following kind of a doing some intermittent fasting. Mm-hmm.
So you had some suspicion to go, I might need to start doing something while I'm waiting for the next visit. Okay.
But before the bump appeared, white little bump, looked like a wart type of thing. But I was like, what is this? Yeah. This shouldn't be here. And so he assumed that it was like a fungus type of a thing on the skin initially. And so he gave me some cream, some other stuff, which, come to find out later, that actually exploded what I now know as to be a cancerous tumor. It was not a fungus. It was a cancer tumor that was actually helped by the cream, which we just didn't know. It looked like a wart looking thing. So
good intent, not great execution.
Yeah. So as soon as I came back with that, I'm like, it grew. And he's like, straight to a specialist. So we did a scan as well, a CT scan. We first did an ultrasound, then a CT scan, and then the specialist. And the specialist says, that's cancer. You're going straight to Indy. And we're going to push you to the front of the line to go to a more specialist for this stuff. And I'm like, what? Because that
So is this like they're sending you same day?
It was as quickly as possible. It ended up being like later on that week.
Okay. I was going to say doctors are slow, but it's still a week. I mean, within a week, that's fast. So they were moving you along.
And that was a doctor at the hospital in Lafayette. And he was in the room with me for about 45 seconds, and he was gone. He was like, "That's cancer," straight to Indy. And then he basically just walked out. And I'm like, "Bro, what? What are we?"
So this was how you got the news.
Yeah. Well,
you had known something
without confirming with the biopsy or anything else.
But his reaction was, "That's cancer." Yep. Not like, "Hey, you got cancer."
100%. Yep.
That's wild.
You're like, "That's cancer. I'm going to send you straight to a guy." And as he's like stumbling out the door, it's like he had to go to the bathroom or something. He's like, "Gone." I'm like, "What?" He got paid like almost $400 for that 45 seconds, bro. We only paid like $40 or $50.
Yeah,
I'm like,
insurance
bro,
coughed it up,
that is insane, dude. That's crazy. So 0 bedside manner, whatever. Cool. Fantastic. Later that week, it was Friday. And I know what day it was. It was December 20th of 2024, this last year. And I went down to Indy after I got dumpsters done, and went to the doctor. They had a student in training, whatever they call that, for a medical.
I should know. My wife watches a lot of Grey's Anatomy, but I don't. So
in training doctor, whatever, for this stuff, and
resident.
Okay.
There you go.
So she was like, "Yeah, that's cancer," and he's probably going to want to remove that, but okay. I'm like, okay. And she walked out. All right, well, interesting. Sounds like it's cancer. And then the main doctor came in, and he's like, "That's cancer. We're going to do a biopsy, and we're probably going to be scheduling surgery pretty soon here, because that's cancer." I'm like, okay. So we walk into the other room. They numb the skin. They do a biopsy, which was not fun. They don't numb the skin all the way. It was not fun. And they take a biopsy is essentially a sample of the tumor itself. And at this point, it was quite. It was, I don't know, 10, 15 times larger than it originally was, the original little bump. Yeah. And this is a matter of, just roughly from when I first found it, in between the first doctor visits, a couple weeks at this point.
It was growing rapidly.
It was very quickly, which was concerning very quickly.
Yeah.
And so they did the biopsy, and he's like, "This is absolutely cancer." And I'm sitting there, basically doing the biopsy. They take part of the tumor as well as part of the skin below it, to make sure they get everything to see how deep is this going and what's all involved here. And so not cool for that stuff. And
just painful. For the record, real quick before we get down, how old are you?
I'm 32.
Okay, 32 years old. Getting this news.
It was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there they all walked out. I'm bleeding because they just basically stabbed into my body, and they said it'll eventually clot up here. But the cancer that I now know what it is, it was invasive squamish cell carcinoma. It is technically, because it's on the outside of the skin, it's technically skin cancer, but it's rooted all the way down to your lymphatic system. So it's actually lymphatic cancer. And my understanding of what the lymphatic system does in your body is it is the sewer system of your body. So all the toxins, if you get a cut, it gets infected. On the skin, the body will drain and basically suck all of the your body has a whole, just like your blood vessel system going all over the place, you have a lymphatic system going all over the place. So when you're sick, usually you feel your lymph nodes get real puffy and tender underneath your jaw. It's the same thing everywhere in your body from head to toe. So that is essentially what I had, and it's the sewer system basically being backed up to the point where it can't properly drain and pump out the ways to get out of your body.
Yeah, and this wasn't from the cancer. This was just from bad eating, poor diet, bad health.
Well,
or was it a mixture of both?
So I asked, I don't know how many questions to that cancer doctor. And I was like, so when did I get this? How quickly when did this start? How did it get here? Like, I asked him a ton of questions.
Yeah.
And he had zero answers for me. He had nothing. He was like, yeah, we need to do surgery. We need to do surgery. That's all he kept saying. Like, bro, you're not answering anything. You don't know anything. All you know how to do is just slice and dice.
Yeah.
And frankly, that's not really an answer to me. And so now that I've gone through what I've gone through, and I'll kind of go into this. So I left that hospital with obviously a pretty heavy weight on my shoulders. It was deeply concerning.
So this is just to clarify. He's told you it's cancer, and he said we're going to have a surgery very quickly.
Yep.
It's going to be a difficult surgery. Yep. And so at this point, you're in decision mode, right? You're in survival decision. You got to tell people. You're in a rough headspace right now. So he didn't really give me an option. I did ask, can we do chemo? Is there any other radiation stuff? Like anything else? No. This has to be. He's like, it would be pointless. I mean, we can do it and we can talk about it and get things going, scheduled, but it'll be after the surgery. Like, we're doing the surgery. And he was just telling me what I was about to endure. There was no question. I was just a guinea pig. I was just going to be dissected or whatever. So he tells me this. This was actually my 4-year anniversary with my wife. Our wedding anniversary, December 20th of 2020, was when we got married. And so I was down in Indy. This is in early afternoon that I got the news. I walk out to my truck. I I probably looked like a ghost. I probably was just, deer in headlights. I was in my Ram 12, the long bed dually. And so I was at the top of the parking garage because I wouldn't fit anywhere else in the parking garage. And so I go up to the top there. I'm basically alone. There's nobody else up there. There's no cars up there. I sit in my truck and my mind's just flooded. I don't know what I started immediately. One of the worst things you could probably do is start Googling how long does somebody live with this type of cancer? How long does this happen? When does it happen? Yeah.
And I'm seeing all these results and I'm like 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. And I'm like, bro, what?
Yeah.
And so my wife's now blowing up my phone because she knows why I'm there. She knows what's going on. Mm-hmm. And so she wants to know, what do the doctors say? What do the doctors say? Is it cancer? Is it cancer? And so I just waited to call her. And I just sat there and closed my eyes and I was just breathing and just decided, okay, so I don't want to go through with the surgery. They have he had no answers for me. Will it come back? Well, I don't know. Probably. I don't know. Can it spread from doing this? Can this happen? Can that happen? He had nothing for me. And so, I have over the last 2 years, from my very highest weight of 390, I had learned about water fasting. And specifically intermittent fasting. Mm-hmm. And essentially what that is just letting your body fast where you are, we call breakfast, breaking your fast from the time you stop eating, before you go to bed till you have your first meal of the day. And they say that's the most important meal of the day. I disagree with that strongly at this point. Breakfast in the morning.
Not a big fan.
And so I was not eating from dinner time the night before until earlier afternoon or even dinner time. So
your intermittent fasting, this is after you kind of went to the doctor the first time, and you had mentioned that earlier in the a few minutes ago.
Over the last few years.
Okay, you had been doing it for a couple years.
Yes,
okay.
I'd already been doing that.
Okay.
And learning about what the body does during that, during an intermittent fast or even water fasting, which is a little extended version of that. And so the body's able to, of course, digest the food. Inflammation goes down. You can slip into ketosis, people on the keto diet, whatever, where you switch from glycogen over to ketones, switching from the fuel sources. So I'd already been doing that for some time, and I'd lost some weight. So I was down from 390 to 360. Okay. Still while eating very, very poorly. Now, pretty much my whole life, I've been eating processed foods, the garbage stuff, all the fried foods in large quantities. And I'm not eating 3 square meals a day. We're talking maybe 5 with snacks in between, constantly eating something all day long with multiple meals the entire day, especially to keep up the energy, right? Late nights working on the business, doing those things. The 2 p.m. afternoon,
getting the slump,
sleep coma, little food coma. I got to keep that party rolling, so I'm still shoving food down my throat. Yeah. And basically, I was constantly eating that processed foods. And so despite eating really poor nutrition, I was still losing weight from using this tool of allowing my body to relax in between hammering during those windows when I was actually doing the intermittent fasting or eating windows. I'm just gobbling it up. I'm gorging myself. Yeah. And so kind of abusing a tool that's a natural tool the body uses anyways. When we're sick, we naturally want to fast. We don't eat a lot of foods. We drink, soup. We have liquids. We have, broth or Sprite or something. Mm-hmm. And our bodies naturally are telling us we want to fast. And so anyway, so I was intentionally doing that, losing some weight, really abusing that tool. And I decided in my truck, on that rooftop, I guess, garage top, that I'm going to water fast. And that is going to be a little more aggressive or consistent than just the intermittent fasting. Mm-hmm. So I was already intermittent fasting that day. I was planning on smashing some Burger King on the way home from Indianapolis. Surprise. To then go to, I think it was Longhorn Steakhouse. So we were going to celebrate. So I was going to have 2 slamming meals. I was about to have those ribs and the chicken and just tear it down.
That Longhorn New York strip is on my brain right now.
Bro, devastating. It's just devastating. So I was planning on eating probably 3,000-4,000 calories within 4 or 5 hours. The dinner meal before the real dinner meal. So
a little pregame.
100%. And my last meal before that was actually just before midnight. I had Cheetos. So Cheetos was my last meal. Found out all this information, and I was like, okay, well, I'm not eating for the rest of the day. I don't know what my game plan is. I know intermittent fasting works, and I've lost weight doing it, but I'm going to go extended version of that because I know the person who I found, his name is Chris James from A Healthy Alternative, the YouTube channel. And I know he's talked about water fasting and the health benefits and recovering from diseases and different things. And so I'm like, wow, dude, I've got to make this happen. I didn't have a full game plan, but I was like, I'm at least going to do this temporarily.
Yeah. I mean, so you were willing to get yourself started.
Yeah.
And I think there's wisdom in that, man. I think that knowing you had to do something and knowing that you had a starting point and knowing that you weren't going to do a surgery that was permanent, yep. There was no, it was going to be something that lasted with you a lifetime. And so it's like, even in the chaos in the midst of that, I can't imagine the emotional pressure in that moment. You were able to go, all right, I don't know what all's going on right now, but I know at the very least I can go for a minute without eating. And that bought you some time to go in and then figure out, what this, Chris James was, you were able to connect with him, and he was able to kind of walk you through that. And not to get too far off the rails, I want to get back to this. I think there's something very spiritual about fasting. I think that the Bible, you and I both believe in the Bible, and it mentions fasting. Christ talks about fasting a lot. And in American Christianity, we don't talk about that too much.
Nope.
Now, I talked about this guy in the first episode, and I'll bring him up again, but Philip Anthony Mitchell at 2819 in Atlanta, probably my favorite pastor right now, he had a series on fasting, and he really preaches the truth of the Bible. But anyway, it is a way for us, now assuming that we're doing this without cancer, okay, we should be doing it biblically all the time. Now, the churches that you and I grew up in didn't really talk about that much, which we kind of talked about last night. But it is a way, I think, not only for you to die to your flesh, because your flesh wants food, man. It's a survival mechanism.
Denying yourself. You're
denying the flesh, but there's restoration physically in that. Your body is purging itself of toxins, and there's so many other benefits that I'm going to let you explain, since you're doing it. But even Jesus himself, as he was preparing to go to the cross, fasted for 40 days and was tempted by Satan, which is another interesting story. But there's something deeply spiritual and healthy with fasting, both intermittently and long term. So I just wanted to kind of caveat to that, because it's not like fasting, I think it's become more of like a trendy thing now, but it is something that the Bible's been talking about for thousands and thousands of years. It was part of world culture. It's still part of culture.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not a Muslim. I'm a evangelical white Christian in America. But the one thing that I can respect about the Muslim faith is that they do take off a month to fast. And I think that not only as Christians, we should draw on that because our faith believes that, but as Americans and in our culture, man, there's this tool in the toolkit that's right there in our faces, and we just don't use it because it's a little painful for a couple days. Sorry, I didn't mean to get off the rails, but
100%.
I think that there is wisdom in your decision to go, I don't know what I'm doing yet, but I know I'm not going to eat food. I know that I am physically capable of not doing that. There's wisdom and there's courage in that. So anyway, we'll get back to that. So you make the decision not to eat, and then how does it look from there?
So I did call my wife and let her know. They did say it is cancer. They need to do surgery, and it is going to be a very invasive, go figure, surgery that she asked me all the same questions that basically I asked the doctor, and I couldn't give her an answer because he never gave me an answer.
Yeah.
He didn't have a clue. Sort of respectfully at this point. But so she began to panic, and I said, honey, let me get home. All I can tell you is I'm not going to be eating. I'm going to be water fasting. I've already basically gone up to the 16 hours I was planning on going. I'm going to continue this and let my body do its thing. And so over that weekend, it was a very troubling weekend for my wife trying to cope with this. She was going through a lot emotionally, which I joke about this a little bit, but obviously it's a very serious situation, but I'm just grateful. My wife, she's like, she wants me to live. That's fantastic, bro. If I needed any proof, I've got it, so anyways, just being
funny.
silly about that.
She wasn't just like, nah, that sucks.
All right, well, let me know when you're out of here. Bro, no. So she was, it was difficult. I'm the one going through it, but she's the one tore up. And as a man, my natural instinct is want to protect her and to comfort her and help her in that way. And it's just I'm being tore apart in two different directions. I'm the one suffering. I should be able to be in my head and my thoughts and just freak out as a guy, not more outwardly generally women might do. But I'm instead having to comfort her I was a little angry at that. And I told her that. I was like, listen, I'm just being transparent with you. Okay. I'm not saying it was right or, certainly wasn't right, but I just told her listen, I'm the one with the cancer. Why am I having to comfort you? I love you, but can you give me a minute? Like, this is too much. This is like a lot. And that it was just overwhelming to have to do both. I'm like, I'm normally on patrol, on duty, wanting to protect my wife and to help her and to serve her and these different things. And I'm like, I have to do it now with cancer too, bro. Like, this seems like a little much, dude.
You think God was in that moment saying, all right, buddy.
It was just a lot. And so she came back and was like, you're right. But like, and we got on the same page. She was like, I can't, I want you to be here. Okay. Mm-hmm. So like, I'm going through stuff too. And I'm like, I fully understand that. I don't feel like I want to be like guilt tripped in this moment of like making sure that you're okay when I'm the one who might not be here, bro. Like it just felt like a lot. So yeah. I'm just, love that or hate that. That's just where I was at. That's what happened. We got on the same page. She apologized. I apologized. Like, we came back stronger through that, but it was a few days of difficultness.
Well, man, that's a tough moment on a 30-something-year-old couple. That's not conversations you expect to have. And so it's like, I can't imagine having that conversation. And you and I are close in the same age. I'm only a little bit older. So it's like, I can't imagine going to my wife and having to have that conversation. No. And so, there's going to be some, like, she doesn't know how to navigate it. And so she's going to have feelings. And so it's, I completely understand that, man. There should be no shame for you there. That's tough,
I suppose we could have handled it worse, but we definitely could have handled it, maybe better. But
hindsight's 20/20,
So she was like, just this crazy surgery that could spread the cancer, that could from the biopsy already have spread it, already triggered something in the whole system to, for that to go other places and stuff. Like, so just panicking. And so I said, I'm going to be reaching, I know of Chris James. I already know what he's doing with intermittent fasting. He's talking about water fasting, and all the health benefits of that. And so I'm going to reach out to him and do a consultation with him. I got to talk to this guy. And so I immediately started binge watching all of his stuff on his YouTube channel. And then I think I paid for the consultation. I think the first time was Monday. So Friday we found out on our 4-year anniversary. We did not end up going to Longhorn for dinner. My wife was like, if you're not eating, I'm not eating, or I'm not going out. Okay. I was like, we made it to 4 years. You put up with me for 4 years. Like, I'm still here. I want to celebrate. Like, let's go.
I will have the coldest glass of water.
That's exactly what I said. I said, I will have water. You have your favorite meal there. Her chicken with the other veggies and stuff. Like, I'll be perfectly fine. Like, you ain't going to bother me. I've done this before. Other people eat in front of me. Like, I don't really care. Mm-hmm. She's like, I just want to be home. I just want to be home with you. So, okay. I'm not going to push you. I'm not going to force you to celebrate. Okay. Yeah. So anyways, that Monday, I had the consultation with Chris, put everything out on the table, told him everything that I've been doing, abusing intermittent fasting as a tool, and leading up to obviously what I've been eating this entire time, and then what the doctor said, and at this point the CT, the ultrasound results. The invasive squamous cell carcinoma being linked to the lymphatic cancer, and at this point, this was already on that Monday. This was already the start of day 4. So from Thursday night at basically midnight, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which are, for those who don't know, in water fasting, usually day 2 or day 3 are the toughest because your stomach shuts down and the withdrawal, just like a drug, from our addictive chemical connections in our brain from the glucose and the processed sugars and stuff, kind of fire off. Even more extreme, like some of the hardest drugs out there our addiction to food, like I was addicted to a lot of these foods, get triggered. And so it's headaches. I had a rash. I had pain on my leg. I was dizzy. I was in pain. Fatigue. I could barely hold up my head. That Saturday, I actually went down back to Beef and Boards. There was a show, and Beef and Boards in Indianapolis is a dinner theater show. So my whole family went there, and they ate the buffet in front of me with prime rib. I'm smelling everything, dude. It's home cooking.
You're smelling it. When you're hungry like that, it's a different kind of...
It was wild. Day two.
There's something primal about being hungry and smelling that. Yeah. Anyway.
But I was so tired. I was so weak. And just smelling that, like, but in the meantime, like, dude, you have cancer, bro. Like, that doesn't taste as good as you being here in a couple of years, bro. Yeah. Like this is not the same thing. So I was operating on a different level already at that point, with extreme detox symptoms and trouble going through that. I was just like, I don't care what this looks like or smells or anything. So they all ate, the whole place ate the full buffet in front of me. And I'm like, I've got my water here. I'm good. And normally I'd sleep through that with the food coma, going to a dinner theater show like that, watching the play. And I'd just be on the back, little, just dozing off. But I was awake the whole time, very weak, fatigued, but we came home. At that time, I had not told anybody else. My wife knew. I think I told my brother, might have been that day or the next day, but my mom didn't know. My stepdad and my grandma all went, and they didn't know at that time. So anyways, that Monday finally.
So they're there. They're there at the show.
They're there.
And you're just...
They were late. And so they didn't see. I just took my wife's plate and I put it on mine.
Okay.
And so they didn't see. They didn't ask questions, because normally I'm 3 plates deep and I'm stacking them in a little mountain. I'm just smashing.
Yeah.
I would have intermittent fasted just like then to then hit that food too. So no questions were asked. I was able to get away with it, and just drink my water and act like, oh, this is my wife's plate, but it's mine,
Yeah.
And so no weird questions or investigation into why is Daniel not eating.
Yeah, no having to break the news at a dinner play. Oh, that's good.
Not what you want to do. So I'm pretty sure my mom would have been hysterical at that point. But that Monday, getting through the weekend, those first 3 days were the toughest. All those symptoms that came up, and really the detox, the addictive detox symptoms that I had from all these processed foods that I pretty much always ate. Now, it's not like I've never eaten a vegetable or fruit before. I would definitely eat that after having 2 pounds of other garbage that's, I mean, could sit on a shelf for 30,000 years, there's just no way.
Yeah, it was kind of like a sweet treat. That's how you treated fruit.
It was like a little bonus.
I like the finger food veggie trays with the soaked in ranch.
100%,
yeah.
Baptized.
Yeah.
Full immersion.
I don't really like the broccoli unless it's dipped completely into ranch. But anyway.
So had the meeting with Chris on that Monday, getting through the weekend, and just told him everything. And he's like, okay, well. He basically set up a full game plan of different tools that I can use to help my detox symptoms, to help me feel more energy, to go through this a little less aggressive with what I'm dealing with, from phototherapy to castor oil to a number of different things to help my body begin to open up with basically my lymphatic cancer. My body needed to be able to open the door for things to come out. All the toxins that you're normally, it's passing through you and getting out of you, as kind of a cycle going through. I wasn't able to do that. And so to open those up, those pathways open, and to get stuff out is what I needed to happen. So, that's what happened. We started up with the game plan. I got everything that he suggested to do and started practicing those things. And I went 46 days with only water. I had no food for 46 days.
I remember talking to you throughout that journey. Dude. That's wild, first of all.
I I did not plan it that way, to be honest. I did 46 days, and basically as the days started stacking up, I was at 7 days. I was like, man, 14 days, bro, 2 weeks, that'd be wild. And then I'd hit that 21 days, bro, 20 days, that's crazy. 30 days. No way, 40 days, bro. That's crazy.
I remember when you were around the 30-day mark. You were like, I'm just gonna go until I can't go. You were like, because I was like, well, where you at, dude? 30? That's a month. So like, are you good? You're not just like, I'm gonna try to text you one day and you're not gonna text me back? Because I know you can go, a long time. And I was in our training in the Marine Corps. They're always like, "Hey, find water. Don't worry about food. You'll get food at some point." Mm-hmm. And so the human body's super resilient without food. So, but when you get to 30 days. I mean, look, man, I know Jesus went 40 days, but you ain't Jesus. So it's like, how are you gonna get? So anyway, around that 30-day mark, I remember you were texting me more often toward the end, getting closer to that 40-day mark. So I'm like, it's got to be getting wild. It's got to be getting wild internally in your brain. And so anyway, didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah. So with the water, just to be very specific, so I was having only water, but what I was doing was I was putting Celtic sea salt for electrolytes, small granule pieces.
So let me ask you a question real quick. Yeah. How many were you putting in? How much water? How many pieces of Celtic sea salt? Because I got some when you were telling me about it.
So I wasn't putting it in the water and dissolving it.
Okay.
What I was doing, and I have done since then, is putting those granule pieces underneath my tongue. And then lowering my tongue, letting it dissolve into my mouth.
Yep.
Once it dissolves and I don't feel any physical piece of salt left, I'm definitely tasting the salt, then I drink the water. And I specifically did that, and Chris showed me and told me how to do that, because you get better hydration and absorption of the water that you are drinking when you do that. That basically opens up the door even wider for hydration to go into you. So rather than pouring the salt into the water, stirring it up, mixing it,
that's the way I've been doing it.
Drinking it, that definitely helps, I believe. But then that water goes all the way down to your stomach, and then the body has to absorb it in the stomach. My understanding is, and I could be wrong on some, probably many of these things still, the terminology and explaining stuff, but it's a faster connection. It's a maybe not a back door, but it's
I chewed tobacco
more injection.
I chewed tobacco for a lot of years, and they say that quitting chewing tobacco is much harder than smoking, because chewing tobacco goes into your mouth, and your mouth is a direct pathway to your bloodstream, and so you get that nicotine way faster in a much higher dose, because it's going into the bloodstream inside of your mouth. So that makes sense to me. Super interesting. I wondered that, and now I'm going to try that.
Man.
Dissolving is a little weird to me too, because then I gotta I don't know, man. I gotta drink this water that kind of tastes like the ocean, and it gets on my nerves. So how many pieces of the salt for someone listening that's like, sure, I kind of want to try, because I think the Celtic sea salt thing is like becoming a thing. How many pieces are you putting under your tongue?
To be honest, I didn't have an exact.
Or you just getting like a pinch
number. I would do a pinch at a time. Okay. And so basically the way I determined, and you can do more just to be safer or more aggressive with it. I don't think that's going to be a problem. But I was doing from 5 to 20 pieces a day, maybe 30 pieces a day.
30 pinches or pieces, granules of salt?
Larger pieces.
Because I know they come in big pieces.
Yes, yeah. So it's the larger pieces. It's not like a rock or something, but it's not the table salt size, like little speck, grains of sand. We're talking larger.
Bigger than Himalayan sea salt. I think the ones that I had gotten.
Yeah, so that's basically what I would do underneath the tongue. And when the second I would put that in my mouth and I would just let my mouth just settle for a minute. Instant energy boost. It would pick me up. And it was, now that you're saying about the tobacco, that makes sense to me. Okay, because it was an instant hit. It was instant
it's
rush.
Right into your bloodstream.
And so I was like, that's fantastic. So that was the cheat code. When if I wasn't paying attention, I would find myself I'm just tired. I'm just, one of those, boom, done. So that's why I was saying as needed, I would take that. So, and eventually sometimes I would be like, okay, well, let's not let it get down that low. Yeah. Let's just keep riding high and keep this party rolling. So probably more than that would be a better recommendation than letting it do, but everybody's body's different. So it's kind of feel it out for yourself.
Yeah. All right. So you get through you get through the salt, you get through the fast, you go on 46 days. Walk me through. I remember you sent me a video of you breaking the fast, and I could see the emotion in eating food for the first time in 46 days. It was wild. Me and Tim watched it.
Dude.
I can imagine that tasted like gushers going off in your mouth.
My God.
But so walk me through the results. Like, what was it like, coming off of that 46-day fast, and what were the results?
Yeah. So, I within the first 2 weeks, just actively seeing my body change as I'm going through the water fast. Within 2 weeks, I no longer had arthritis in my hands, my joints all over my body. My right knee going up the stairs in my house would pop, or I would hurt. Within 2 weeks, all of that was gone. The inflammation was gone. My sleep apnea, I'm talking rocking the boat by
and
my
you put
snoring.
some clips of this up. By the way, guys, if you don't follow Daniel on TikTok, go to Daniel Stanton on TikTok and go follow him. And he's posted this journey throughout. So you can go actually into what we're talking about and kind of see the story. And I saw that video you posted of the sleep apnea, which was bold of you to post. But man, that's it was intense.
The first time we found out was at 2 weeks after I first started. We went on a trip, and my wife was driving. I was sleeping, and normally she has to be able to, turn up the music loud or something, and because I'm just so loud, she can't hear over me. And I woke up, and we had arrived where we were going, and she was like, "Daniel, you didn't snore." I was like, "Huh? What are you talking about?" And she's like, "You made no noise." I'm like, "Well, that's freaking awesome."
Might have freaked her out. She was probably like, "Is this dude dead?"
All right, well, and to you say that this entire time, either my sleeping up until this point was rocking the boat, waking her up 10 times a night because of my snoring, or by the morning time, my breathing is so weak and poor that she doesn't know if I'm breathing. She's not seeing my chest rise as I'm breathing in, because it would be so delayed in between those times. So that sleep apnea, it's you're making crazy noise, or it's just not rising and lowering at a normal person's level. So. I went through seeing that change. The sleep apnea was gone. Arthritis is gone. That's when I had my second blood lab results taken. I got the results for that. That also showed that I was pre-diabetic. Like I said earlier, I believe, my A1C went from a 6.0 to a 5.2, no longer pre-diabetic, no longer at risk for heart disease, heart attack, stroke, all of those things within 2 weeks. My triglycerides were at 298, again, at risk for heart disease, heart attack, all those things.
298. What at what level for anyone? I mean, of course, the doctor's going to explain most people that get blood work, but just from my own knowledge, at 298, you are no longer in, or
so 150 is where 150 and above is where it's the danger zone. Okay, and the higher you go, the worse. I believe that's fat in your blood, which can clog, and you have a problem.
Gotcha.
You have a ending
at risk for clotting or whatever.
Yep.
Okay.
And so I was at 298. So basically double the top. Man. I went from 298 to 101.
Wow.
Well, within the range.
2 weeks in?
2 weeks in.
Wow.
Or 15 days. Splitting hairs, but and then basically everything else. The only other issues that I had on my on the chart specifically was my electrolytes, which was just my energy level and those things, which I already knew. Struggling to keep that up at a higher level was my biggest problem through that. So basically everything else in my body, I was having at the end of 46 days, scar tissue was repairing on my body. I can visibly see on my right arm. I've had a cut from my middle finger all the way down to my wrist. Basically, most of that is gone now. That's a minor thing, but that's kind of crazy. Scar tissue I've had for over a decade, healed. Joint pain, gone. Everything else that I know about, gone. My hand-eye coordination got better. I went bowling halfway through the fast, and I actually got 2 turkeys 2 turkeys in a row. And I almost beat my buddy who's like, not professional, but like very, very good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, like I'm not even trying. I'm just, my mind, my hands, everything is just well tuned. It's dialed in.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, this is crazy results.
And how much weight did you lose in this period?
So at 46 days, I lost 82 pounds.
Yeah.
82 pounds. Now, obviously, when I started eating, when I had the watermelon, when I broke my fast, and I started eating more high water content fruits and then vegetables and those things, of course, I gained weight. Of course, water weight, food weight, the real nutrition I was starting to eat, not processed foods, but I basically started putting back on some weight from that, and you could very visibly see that it was my body filled out a little bit from how very narrow my whole body, my skin just kind of deflated with the inflammation and everything else. So, 82 pounds in the first 46 days. I ate for 10 days, nothing but fruits and vegetables for 10 days.
How much were you eating each day?
To be honest, I had no portion control.
Okay.
But I can tell you it was a lot less.
Well, when you're eating whole foods, it's a little, you fill
up fast.
Much different. Yeah, you fill up very fast. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I was still smashing water. During the water fast, I'm drinking a minimum of 1 gallon of water a day. Up to 1.5 gallons at the highest.
Did you experience the weird, so I've been drinking 1 gallon a day for a few weeks now. Did you ever experience, like when you drink 1 gallon or more per day, you're super thirsty? Or you're now, if you're taking Celtic salt, which is the reason that I've begun to take it, it definitely tapers it down. I've noticed that. But for a while I wasn't, and like I would drink 1 gallon and be like, I could drink another gallon, dude. I'm so thirsty. I don't know if you experienced that or not. But I've always thought that was weird.
So my understanding is during a water fast, what happens is of course you're only putting in water, so your digestive system basically shuts down as much as it can. The H2O that we drink today is not the actual water that our body actively uses. H3O2 is what the body uses to hydrate all the different organs and parts of the body. So the body actually has to convert H2O into H3O and filters that, and everything that it can't filter within a certain amount of time as you're continuing to drink and pour more on, into your stomach, that all that stuff is unused water. For the most part, there's probably some toxins in there you're peeing out and getting rid of, but for the most part, that is unused water because our bodies are so inefficient at filtering and using and actually putting that right into the pipeline.
Gotcha.
So your body filters and converts that into H3O2, but also the body is, as it's using, it's called autophagy. So your body is in ketosis. It is switching fuel sources from sugar over to fat, and the fat is broken up into the protein, the H2O, which it then uses that as well, already in the body. It's more of a direct plug and play to convert that into the higher quality water that can be used. So it's purging out, it's using the protein, it's using the toxins and the fatty acids and things and the carbohydrates in those fat cells, and then it's pulling the water. So the full fat cell it's shrunk. I believe it doesn't actually go away, it just shrinks.
Gotcha.
The fat cells we have today are the fat cells we will probably have for the rest of our lives. It's just a matter of, are they enlarged with
Are they active in a way?
Reserves? Are they being used, storage, or is it not used? If it's not used, it shrinks.
Gotcha.
And so basically my body was able to produce and use the H2O in my body already and plug that basically back into the system to directly use that. So over time, throughout that water fast, I experienced needing less water. Like I couldn't drink enough in the sense to where I was down to about 1/2 gallon. By the last week or so, I was only able to drink 1/2 gallon because I just didn't want it. And that initially scared me for a second because I was like, bro, like that's the only thing I'm putting in my body. Like, isn't this kind of important? But Chris told me, like, listen, your body is more efficient at using the water you already have in your body that's actually better and quicker for you it's using that. Don't be concerned. This is normal.
Gotcha.
Your body is more efficient than it was before because normally you just be peeing most of that out.
So let me ask you this, and I know this is maybe I'll sound like an idiot for asking, but is there a water that you can drink that is already converted that can be directly absorbed by your body and its organs? Is there a version of water that from externally that has been created, or is it just that our body naturally has to convert this water over for it to be? You may not know the answer, but I don't know. That's interesting to me.
So the closest thing that will help you, in my understanding, again, I'm some guy, all right? So the closest water that your body can readily use is distilled water.
Okay.
There's spring waters and different things with a lot of minerals and things.
So I've always heard distilled water you shouldn't drink.
The reason, my understanding is distilled water doesn't have all those things. The minerals.
Stuff. Okay.
And that I believe the concern is that having that, it will, not getting those minerals. The inverse of that is you put the water in, you drink it, you pee it out. It actually is able to help carry all of the things that are not good in you out of you. It's able to not like latch on, I think, but a version of that to where it's readily able to, the body doesn't have to filter it even more. It's already as clean and pure as possible.
Gotcha.
And so the body has to do less work to convert it of all the waters out there, my understanding is, as well as it can help actually get rid of the stuff as it goes through you and carries out those things. So I could be wrong on that. I'm definitely open to correction.
You're closer to it than I am, so I definitely wanted to ask.
So that's what I've been doing through this process with the water. So
you get through the 46-day fast. You have all these results. Obviously, you have to continue to fast. I mean, you had told me at the time, like you had gotten some additional blood work post 46 days.
Yep.
And you had told me then, like, this is what the results are saying. I'm on a good path. So I want to kind of dive into that. I want to open two cans of worms here. And the first is, when you got the results that things were moving in the right direction, how then did you feel about the doctor that told you needed a life-altering surgery, and where was your confidence level in that medical system? Because look, man, the reality is, you can go watch a lot of other big podcasts. Andy Huberman is a great, he's a scientific health guy who talks a lot about, practices and things that you can do to be healthy. And then there's a lot of debate about the medical industry, and specifically the cancer industry. One of the conspiracies is that the reason that a cure for cancer hasn't come out is because it's such a moneymaker. I mean, imagine how much money they're going to make on a life-altering surgery that they did on you. You're a pawn. I mean, at least from the outside looking in, right? And I'm sure I'm going to let you peel that on your back. So what is your feeling there? How are you feeling about the medical industry in that point? And then what is your plan moving? Because you can't fast, for 94 days. You wouldn't be here. So you have to come up with some strategy. So first, let's talk about what are your feelings? I'm sure there's some questions, and then what's your plan moving forward?
Yeah. With some of those blood lab results, a little later on with that.
I forgot to ask this. When did you take the second set of labs?
The second lab, I believe that was at, while I was refeeding the first time.
Okay.
Had those done, and then technically there was one even before all that. 3 at that point, and then I just had one that I got back today. So
I wanted to end on that, dude. Bro. Yeah.
So I initially had actually fired the cancer doctor when he called me a week later with the results from the biopsy, confirming what he already knew, and he already blah blah. I had fired him, called the office, no longer need your services. your services are no longer required, that type of thing. And the office lady was like, okay, so you're going another route? Yeah, we're going another route.
Yeah.
And so that was enjoyable to fire him. And I won't go too far into this, but the bedside manner, the hospitality, you hear the word cancer, especially with like kids and like Riley Hospital, and all that.
Yeah.
You think, oh, we're here to support you. We're with you through this. We're gonna fight with you. We're all this blah 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 blah. Mm-hmm. No, zero. For me, it was stone cold. They're seeing through me. Like they see dollar signs behind me. Like there was no encouraging word. There was nothing. I was just barely alive. I don't know. They were just treating me as
they're out there saying like, you're going to do this or you're going to die, and we don't care either way.
There was no encouraging smile. There was nothing at all. It was just stone cold faces, and it felt like the mood. Everything was just. It was just ruthless. I mean, it was just savagery. Yeah. A mad scientist.
I remember you communicating that to me when we had talked about it, and it was really fresh. It was like a day or two later.
Yeah, I was not thrilled with their. They would not get a 5-star review if they asked me, and I'll probably leave a review at some point. So I fired that doctor. I went back to my primary care doctor and told him everything. He's like, okay, well. Like I can't treat this cancer, but I can help monitor it. But you would need to get a second opinion and go to another specialist first, or everything going on with that. So I'm like, okay, but yeah, I seeing the results after that first fast, and I've done another one, several of them since. At the end of that, I saw the physical cancer tumor. It stopped growing, as well as the results from the blood labs confirming this. The cancer stopped growing, and it actually started to shrink. And the process, it's called necrosis, which is the process of it could be anything, I guess, any type of skin or material of your body. Necrosis is the process of cells dying. So it physically turns black. And on my tumor specifically, the tumor turned black basically right in the middle in a couple of different dots areas, and then started shrinking inward. So it's like almost like quicksand, like being sucked in, imploding, I guess. Yeah. That's what it looked like. And so I'm like, okay, so this water fast is working. There's no doubt about it. I'm seeing blood lab results not only show that my organs are not shutting down and failing like everybody seemingly thinks. You can't fast for more than 3 days or 7 days or 10 days, whatever. Not only was I able to go 46 days, I lost 82 pounds. Every single other chronic disease that I have had and things that doctors tell you just have to manage the symptom, pump you full of drugs, go to do therapy, do different things. You're just going to have to live with this for the rest of your life. Diabetes, all sorts of things that they say. I didn't just like slow it down or stop it from being that bad. I ended it, reversed it. It's over. All of those other things stopped everything completely to where I don't have anything wrong in those areas, and having the results to prove it. And then seeing the cancer tumor shrink and see the process of it starting to literally, it took 30 days for my right pelvis, it's in my pelvis area. It took 30 days for my right lymphatic node, just like up in your jaw, like that before. You have 2 nodes in your pelvis. My right one started to pumping and working.
I remember you telling me.
It never had worked before. I've never noticed it. Yeah. Soft, tender, and enlarged. And then it would shrink and enlarge, and literally pumping it through, pumping those dead cancer cells out of it. Like I started mentioning earlier, autophagy, breaking down, literally the body living off of itself, essentially. And the body specifically targeting, because we are created intelligently, not by accident. This is not some big, whoop-de-doo, it's amazing. It's a shocker. It's calculated. The body specifically goes after the things that it doesn't need, that it can't use, and that is not normal to the body. And so it protects your muscle after, I believe, 2 days. and specifically targets the fat cells and any toxins. It repairs and it detoxes. So I had an incredible amount of detox stuff that I saw come out of me, from my skin to the bathroom to, I mean, just everything. It just comes out of you. The body pushes it out. It loosens it up, pushes it out, and then heals. Exactly. And so the process of autophagy is what is doing that. And stem cells are created and pushed to go heal and to recycle and to protect and rebuild all these things. So my lymphatic system, my filtering system, my liver, with the gallbladder and the kidneys, those things got repaired crazy to the point where everything was now smoothly operating. The bad stuff was being pushed out, and now the good stuff was being put in when I started refeeding with fruits and vegetables, whole foods, nothing processed to the best of my ability, my wife's and my ability. That's what happened. So cancer being basically stopped in its tracks, not fully finished off yet, but everything else being just curb stomped to nothing. Yeah. And so I ate for those 10 days and then went into a second water fast for 19 days. Okay. I had basically no detox symptoms going into that second water fast. It was completely different than the first one. Anytime you do a water fast or fasting in general, because your body is at hopefully a better state as you refeed with good stuff, your symptoms will look different. The body will target different areas. I wish the body would have just targeted the cancer tumor and left everything else, and then we can get to those smaller things. All the other stuff
is what got you there.
Exactly. Yeah. But the body needed to warm up and rev up to the point where it can knock out, take some hits and clean and filter stuff out to where it can deal with those deeper level problematic areas. So 19 days, I believe I lost 40 pounds after I gained 20 pounds back. I lost 82 in 46 days. I gained 20 pounds in 10 days.
That is wild.
20 pounds in 10 days. I didn't eat 20 pounds worth of food. I can tell you.
Your body's taking all that water and the nutrients. And
it's water. Yeah. Because I'm still not in a healthy state, the body the body uses inflammation to protect itself from problematic areas. So the body sucked up all that water as much as it could to fill me back up, because it was in a state of like having less water. Sure. Going through it. So sucked up the water. I'm assuming use the water to go back to that inflammation as well. So I felt inflammation come back, but not as aggressive by any means as what it once was. Right. And then basically going into that second fast, losing 40 pounds in 20 days. Of course, the water weight, inflammation, but I'm still seeing vile stuff coming out of me, like atrocious stuff. Like
your body's really getting down to the nitty gritty and pushing everything out. So you're down 100 pounds at this point. 100 pounds. So your start weight again, you said it earlier, but what was it?
I was at 390 before, and then I started the fast on December 20th, not knowing or intentionally at the beginning of the day at 360. Technically a little bit more, but we'll just round down to 360. And within 75 days from the original start date, I lost 100 pounds. 100 pounds in 75 days, and that includes 10 days of eating food again, is what I lost. And reversed basically everything else besides the cancer that was basically just stunted and stopped. Since then, I ate for roughly about 3 weeks. Fruits and veggies every day, as much as I wanted, really not hold myself back, to be honest. I gained from roughly 360, I went back up to, from 260, I went back up to 297, except it's a difference. And there's maybe folks out there who may be like, well, you gained the weight back, bro. Like, what are you talking about? It's not the same weight. I'm not putting in the toxic foods. My belt buckle, I've lost, I've thrown out basically all my clothes. I was wearing 4XL, 3XL tees, 46-inch waist. I have to wear a belt for my 40-inch waist right now, and I just had to drill another hole into my belt because I'm like another inch down. So 297, when I got up to that, I think I went up one notch inch on my waist size. I went up one belt from the all-time low that I was at 260. So
there's a big difference in weight and tape weight.
100%.
You know, that was something that when I was in the Marine Corps, you had to make weight, and there's these dudes that were jacked. I mean, you know, the musclehead guys that you would imagine a Marine would look like, and they wouldn't make weight. Pull out a measuring tape, measure them up. They're well within regulation. So there's definitely a difference in weight.
A pound is not a pound.
A pound of muscle is not a pound of fat.
And water weight with all that, it's just different.
Yeah.
And until you experience it, it's not going to maybe seem exactly right, but it's different. So, after 19 days, I refed for about 3 weeks, went back up to the 297. And then last week, the week before that, I started a preparation for a dry fast. A dry fast sounds similar to what it may sound like. Dry fast is no food and no water. But in order to do that safely and to get the best results from it and to help your body now, you need to prepare for it. So I did a 7-day preparation where I weaned myself off of solid food all the way down to water and to juice. And eventually the last day, just green juice without as much sugar, having less of those fructose sugars in there.
Natural sugars, not any processed. Yeah.
So going from that 7-day period, I lost, I believe it was 19 pounds in a week. Still eating, for the most of the week, 5 days of that was still solid foods. And it was basically intermittent fasting. I did 2 days for basically 4 days, weaning myself down from that, and then 1 meal a day, and then juice. And that basically helps the body basically land the plane is the way I picture things. Land the plane as smooth as possible. So I'm already into I'm getting into ketosis. My stomach is already settled down. It's not expecting food. I'm not having, stomach pains now. At this point, honestly, after the 46 and the 19, I was having zero detox symptoms anyways. Like I'm not having headaches. I'm not feeling fatigue at the beginning. I'm not doing any of that. And basically it was already smooth for me at the beginning. So I did that week long, and then I did 4 days of dry fasting, which they say you can't go more than 1 day or 3 days maybe or something.
I think it's 72 hours without water, but I think it definitely depends on your physical activity.
Sure.
It's going to depend on what is your body using. Are you in a dry environment where you're evaporating water off of your skin? So I'm no expert, but I think 72.
Sure. Okay, so
maybe more, but not much.
I would assume there's absolutely people out there with their health, and if they don't prepare or don't prepare the right way, or the environment, all of those factors, absolutely it could be maybe devastating. You could hurt yourself if you don't do it the right way.
Right.
The way I did it was through a full protocol from, again, Chris James, doing the water fasting, all the tools he told me to get and I was using during the water fast, and now the tools and process to do the dry fast safely was his protocol for the DR96, so 4 days, 96 hours, and basically doing a cycle of that. So 4 days of no food, no water, 3 days of refeeding, and then doing that every week. So basically 4 days, 3 days, 4 days, 3 days. And right now, I'm talking to you. I have energy. This is day 3 of the second week of doing the dry fast.
Yeah.
So I've already done 4 days. I survived. I've run my business this entire time. I've run dumpsters. I'm taking calls.
I was wondering how you were going to be feeling this morning. Yeah.
And that, partially, just to be honest, just to be in preparation and to protect myself, I wanted to make sure that this was as early as possible. Like I said, let's go as quickly as we can, so that I do have enough energy and my mouth being wet. So I still have, I don't know if you can tell, I have moisture in my mouth. My mouth is not dry. At this point, no other real detox symptoms. It's just tiredness, fatigue, and the frustrating thought of having a mouth that is dry. And so for the most part, day 1, day 2, on the first week, and even this week, no problem, no issues, slightly less energy, but I still have a full level of of hydration, and I'm ready to roll. And actually,
you seem high energy. I mean, you've seen really. I mean, you're a great guy to be around. You've got a great attitude and a great personality anyway. But I would assume someone who hadn't had food or water in 3 days might not be as. I would not be very friendly, I would assume, in those 3 days. And you seem very like yourself, you know?
I would definitely say that I have moments at the beginning and the end of the day where I'm a little bit more irritable, I'm a little bit more aggressive, and like things that bother me or noises or different things. Like, my wife has been very patient and very understanding, and I've just told her, like, I can't deal with that right now. Whatever, little thing that's bothering me. And she's like, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Like, understand.
I get it, bro. You haven't eaten in 3 days.
This is not me. Okay. You know your husband. I'm not trying to treat you like that. You deserve better than this. But I'm just telling you right now, if this keeps happening, I'm about to blast off into outer space, bro. Like, this is bothering me. Little weird things. Okay. But yeah, the first one and day 2, really no issues. And that day 3 last week, I had some times where I was very fatigued. I was driving, and I just pulled over on the side of the road. A 10-minute nap instantly jumps me up with my energy.
I bet that's magical too.
It's almost like drinking the first water or the watermelon, breaking that first fast. I broke my water fast with watermelon both times.
Man, it looked good. It looked
good.
Dude,
I mean, just an explosion.
Even for some like January watermelon,
just magical. Being able to use those little tools, pull on the levers that give you the way back to the most comfortable position possible while you're going through it. And so that's what I've done. And so day 4, I was definitely feeling tired. I waited till midnight to drink my first water at the end of 4 days, 96 hours. And dude, I mean, it was not as good. I'm not going to lie. It was not as good as the watermelon, but it was like...
Was it like a Fiji or something? Did you get a good water? Some of that volcanic water from the gas station?
No, I did some... it was reverse osmosis water.
I mean, probably
we
much
got at the
better.
house.
Yeah. Did you get a system put in?
So we have a countertop system that I've got.
Okay.
Our tap water is atrocious. That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll save that for the next
learn
episode.
That, but I ended up breaking that and then refeeding last 3 days. And then this is day 3 of my second dry fast for 4 days. I'll break my fast again on Friday morning. And essentially, this protocol is so safe. And your body actually, like we were mentioning before, the body water percentage goes up during a fast. During a water fast, it retains it. And so I can track that on my scale that I have, that I'm weighing in myself, my body muscle, my body fat, and then the body water and everything. There's like 16 or 17 different tracking things that it's got. During this dry fast, my body water percentage has only gone up during this time. So, as I mentioned before, the body creates it. I'm getting saliva from the weight in my body that it's pulling from those fat stores. So, today, I actually got some news from my doctor, from the app that I have, the Follow My Health.
Literally 5 minutes before we started the show, man.
Literally. I took those results. It's from my latest blood lab results, showing the full spectrum of all of the cancer markers. All of those showing whether it's spreading, whether there's necrosis or dead cells in my organs, if those organs are being... If it's spread to the point where it's taking out those vital organs and stuff, and to see the full scope of it as much as you can without literally doing another CT scan, which another one will probably be on the way anyways. But we've got some news today. So I plugged in all of those results from the lab report into ChatGPT. Just like the previous 3 that I have done, I had it compare basically everything and to show the trend, to show all of that. And
so just real quick, when someone hears ChatGPT, they're like, oh boy, here we go. But you explained it to me how you're prompting ChatGPT to give you real results. So first of all, ChatGPT is a super powerful tool. They recently just went through an update, which made it even crazier. It is an awesome tool. I do think it's going to change humanity, which is another conversation. But how did you build this prompt into ChatGPT so that you could get actual results? What did that kind of look like?
So from the very beginning, ChatGPT has wanted me to consult a doctor, go to the doctor. I'm not a substitute for going to the doctor. I'm always reverting me back to the doctor. And so I've constantly said, I don't care for that. You can drop that off of your prompting. Mm-hmm. But basically, I've prompted it to basically address, as if there's no other doctors on earth. You are my only hope to be able to understand this information, to categorize it, to chew back and forth and have a conversation about this. You're the only thing that can help me understand these results and speak to me as if I don't know anything. After I continually have given it all the information, all the documents, all the paperwork, all the physical things that I'm seeing less and less pus come out of the tumor, seeing the tumor shrink, seeing necrosis where the black, it's literally turning black, all of these visible, and then everything else we've done. Prompting with that to where it slowly over time has been able to be able to tell me more and more direct answers, specifically answering questions about fasting, water fasting, and then more recently the dry fasting that I've been doing, and to give me more direct answers to point me in the direction, where are things headed, where are things going. And so I did the same thing here this morning. I plugged in all that information, prompted it the same way, and it just told me, not only am I able to now understand the blood labs a little bit better for myself, I'm still not as knowledgeable as maybe a nurse or a doctor who knows all the different words that are $20 words, 20-letter words. But basically, able to see specifically whether numbers are too high or too low. Mm-hmm. And originally when I first started, I had 4 or 5 plus different categories for certainly my electrolytes, but also other parts of my body that weren't working and functioning the best. And so over time, those numbers have gone down. Well, as of today, I have only one that is too low, and that is my glucose. And that is directly related to the sugar, which I already know because I'm in the middle of a dry fast. Yeah. My body has already just, squeezed out the sponge of all the sugar I've got, and it's just purging that and using that up as, getting that out. So, not only do I not have any other things wrong with all my levels and things being active, so all my organs are working, my liver, gallbladder, the kidneys, everything is functioning. The additional testings that we had done on this specific test, the lymphocytes, all of the cancer-related markers that you would find in blood when cancer releases things into the blood, you're going to see a number of different, like CEA and different things. There's no signs of those either. Not high, not low. It's just not even released in there. Yeah. So based on all that, I then asked, okay, so what are you telling me? Do I physically still have the tumor on me and it's shrinking and that's fantastic? Is it in remission? Is it degenerating? Like I already know physically what's happening, but like you tell me on a cellular level, what is going on? Yeah. Give me a straight answer if you can. And it specifically said that I am in remission of the cancer. Dude. So, man, I don't even know what to say, bro. I'm about to shoot off like a rocket, blast into outer space. Specifically, directly, it is telling me I'm in remission. And not only that, as this continues to go, and as I've learned more about water fasting and the dry fasting, doing this type of thing doesn't just kill the cancer cells or just numb them or neutralize them or make them go idle like maybe chemo or like radiation stuff does. It clears it out completely. Like it's not just going to sit there and I'm just going to have this for the rest of my life. Like the body is going to detox and push all of that out, suck all of that out, either fall off physically or internally, draw it out and purge it out the back door. And essentially I will have zero cancer. Eventually, the cancer cells will be completely gone. That's my understanding. And that's what I'm believing. And I have no reason to disbelieve that at this point.
You know, it's God can still work miracles in 2025. And it's funny that he we have these tools. We've had these tools in our back pocket. Modern medicine is incredible. So I don't want to knock that. I think modern medicine has saved a lot of lives.
Oh, yeah.
I do think, especially in Western culture, that it has turned into a racket in some ways. And we talked about this earlier, so I don't want to rehash it, but specifically certain types of health issues are money grabs. We saw that with the opioid epidemic, which hit Kentucky extremely hard. I mean, I have very close family members, guys that work for Sergeant Junkett who were a part of that epidemic. Sure. And then the cancer epidemic. I feel like I never heard of cancer in young people growing up, right? Like, my grandmother had breast cancer, and cancer is always been around in humanity, but I feel like it just seems like the last 5 to 10 years, so many young people are getting cancer. It's a fear of mine, and it's like it goes back to our diet. And you can get really down, you can get real conspiratorial. Does it start with our diet, and then that gets us into the hospital so that we can pay for treatment or have to pay for life-altering surgeries, and then it's kind of just this hamster wheel of the only people profiting from it are the insurance companies and hospitals. And so we could go down that rabbit hole, and I'm okay with doing that if you want to. But before we do, I want to dive into you're a faithful man. You believe in Christ. We talked about that. We prayed before this podcast. In the beginning, we talked about that when you first told me about this. And I don't know, how do you tell a guy who just told you he's got cancer that everything's going to be okay, right? So I didn't really know how to communicate that, but I knew that you had faith in Christ, and I knew that no matter what happened, you were at the very least going to have that foundation. But I really want to know from a faith standpoint, because I'm sure it's been an up and down crazy journey, but I want to hear it from you. What was it like from the time, what was your relationship like with Christ before? What was it like when you found out, and where are you at now? And just, look, don't give me the fluff, man. I want to hear the reality. What was it? Where are you?
I've been on a challenging walk with Christ. This goes back pretty far, going through my childhood and different things, but to summarize, to get us up to at least more recently, I trusted Christ when I was 9 years old. I knew that I was not perfect. I knew God was. I trusted in Christ, what his perfect work on the cross did for me, bringing me freedom in him, the free gift of salvation. I couldn't buy, I couldn't earn, I couldn't do anything. And I trusted in him when I was 9 years old, and that's also when my parents divorced, and that was a whole roller coaster ride up and down, and that was very challenging. And my distrust of God with my day to day, even though I trusted him with my future, my home in heaven with him, and knowing what he did for me. And yet, just going through that whole process, I've had a roller coaster ride. I've gone into ministry, and seemingly I'm going in a different type of ministry, just living life with people, serving people, loving loving God and loving people. Simple, doesn't mean that's easy, but that's the task at hand. That's what he's got for me, and I want to love people well. And so going into this whole situation, I've been chewing and going through some growing pains, getting over some deep hurts I've had in churches, deep hurts in family and different things, just trying to grow, trying to not be a stumbling block to myself. And so this wave of cancer, you hear the cancer, and the word just strikes fear. And in this world, if you don't have hope, if you don't have some plan, some anything, you're numb with fear. And ultimately, it is easy outside of Christ, outside of the truth in life, whatever the truths that God has set up in this world, the foundations of the earth, like, it's very easily to be controlled by fear. And so, with this cancer, when it happened, I absolutely have had, I don't know how many moments, not days, I would say, at a time, but moments of fear, of devastating to my core, like, whoa, dude, like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I really don't know if I can handle this. And at the same time, I've had moments of, the truth is, I'm bulletproof. I either go home to be with my Savior, who takes me out of this world, and peace out, bro. Like, this place is not it. This is not it. I'd rather be with him. At the same time, I have a wife. If he's okay with it, I'd love to have some kids and to serve. And I truthfully don't think my mission is done yet on this earth. He's got more for me here. And in the meantime, there's absolutely work to be done. And so for myself, the ability to disconnect from that fear, that I mean, just throat clenching, just fearful wave that hit me multiple times, and reground myself to, okay, I'm good if I go with him and I'm out of here. I would miss my wife and, different things or whatever, but like, I'm good either way.
Yeah.
Whatever he has for me, it's not my will, it's his. He's going to be glorified this either way we go, and I'm good with it.
It's powerful.
And so coming to that conclusion basically just kind of squashed all of those fears and those thoughts that would come up more regularly at the beginning.
Yeah.
And go, either way, I'm just going to win. I'm going to win no matter what. And so with that in mind, the fear really just kind of went away, and for the most part, and it's just like, I'm going to do it the natural way. I'm going to do it the healthy way. I'm not going to be nuked by these doctors. I'm not going to be mutilated and savagely destroyed physically. And ain't gonna happen, dude. Yeah. I'm not gonna be a sucker. And no offense to anybody who has gone through cancer and gone through those things, zero anything, but like, I'm not gonna just be told and just be a little hamster.
Yeah.
You're just experimenting. You're practicing. I'm getting a little amped up right now, but like, the doctor had zero answers for me, no anything. And it was almost like they wanted me to be I don't know. There was no comforting, no anything for me. And it was like they wanted it to me. If you asked me, how would you create an environment where you would have the most fear? Walk into the cancer doctor's office right there in that hospital, downtown Indy. Go right there. That's exactly how I would want to model it after. So spiritually, my wife and I going through this, obviously seeing some crazy results, seeing the prediabetes, seeing my sleep apnea disappear, all of these crazy things within 2 weeks, bro. Like, bro, anybody could do 2 weeks. Prepare for it well. Like, all of these things just drop off. If I can neutralize and just knock those off like it's nothing. That was a huge, obviously, motivational boost, and seeing those things like, oh, we're cooking now, baby. Yeah. Oh yeah, we're about to roll. Seeing those things, seeing by sight, but living by the faith in the moment, going through this process, going into deep prayer, being transparent, like weeping on the floor in the bathroom. One of the things that I did, one of the tools I used was an enema to flush out. Breaking up any blockages going through, because believe it or not, there's still stuff in there, and it's the toxic stuff you got to break through. And so doing an enema. I'm so weak. I'm so tired. At the end of the day, I just did all my dumpster stuff for the whole day. I'm coming home, and I'm laying on my side doing an enema in the bathroom floor, trying not to lose everything on the floor and make it to the bathroom or to the toilet. And I'm so weak and I'm so tired, and I'm just like, Lord, I got nothing left tonight. I literally, I got nothing. You've got to get me through tonight.
Yeah.
I don't know about tomorrow, but I need you right now to step in and to make it happen, because I'm about to break. And with water fasting, with any type of physical, mental, thing, it really is a mental war. It is being locked in, and we can talk about this a little bit more with the business and the same type of mentality that I've had, but like,
you're battling physically, and it's a spiritual battle.
100%.
Because your enemy knows that you're weak physically.
Yep.
And he knows which pain points to push. And he knows that you have cancer on your mind and that hope is low in some instances. And so I think in those moments where you're desperate, that's where the power of God is felt. It's not in the great moments in life. It's not in when you're on the high highs. It's in those desperation moments. And I don't think your desperation moment in this case was more than anything I think I've ever experienced. I've experienced desperation, though. And it's in those moments that is where you experience the power of God. And he allows us to get there.
Yeah.
One of the things is, well, why does God allow cancer? And I don't want to open that door. But one of the reasons I think he allows his children to go through it is so that they can experience his goodness.
Yep.
Because I think if you really want to experience the goodness of God, you're going to have to go through something. Yep. And then in those moments, when you're under attack, when you're physically, spiritually, mentally under attack, you're going to find peace in him. And I think that's powerful, man. And a testament to how strong the gospel is. And no matter how far away you feel from God,
yep,
the door's always open. So I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
That really, really, that struck me, man.
It's those moments in the bathroom, and also within water fasting and even dry fasting. Not so much that I've experienced with the dry fasting, but it's a physical detox. It's an emotional detox. We have, like it or not, we are emotional beings. You think you're just a robot or something. And you just, most guys, we don't have emotions.
Bury them down.
Bro, they come loose.
Yeah.
Throughout the day, unexplained joy, unexplained, happiness, just free feeling, sorrow, weeping. Like I'm crying for no reason, going down the road, talking to a customer about what size do you need, 15 or 20, 25, and I'm just like, all right, that'll be $350 for 3 days. And I'm just like, bro, what are we doing right now, bro? I'm in the shower just crying, and I don't even know why. And so it's those moments and the physical moments where I'm just like, I'm so weak. He is strong. I'm desperately clinging out. I'm begging. There's nobody else that can help me. There's nothing. My wife can't help me. The doctors can't freaking do anything. They don't even know anything, somewhat respectively. And I'm just like, I need you right here and right now. I can't do this. I need a direct answer to prayer this second. And I'm telling you, and I didn't keep track, I didn't count or anything, but multiple times I had moments where I was just out of desperation, just clinging, asking for help. And he met me right where I was at. I can't fake that. I can't act like it was me. I pulled myself up by my bootstraps. Like there's nothing else it could have been. In those moments, directly giving me peace, even like not physically like him showing up, but like feeling like I'm getting a hug. I'm getting he's wrapping my arms around me, and I feel like comforted. And with the energy and comforting and just all of that together, he met my exact need exactly when I needed it. There's nothing else it could have been. I wasn't having a vision. I wasn't going into hysteria. I wasn't having some crazy whatever, bro. Like out loud, I'm asking for help, crying, begging on the floor, and he meets my need immediately right there. And The truth is, he doesn't owe that to me. He didn't have to. He chose to. He allowed exactly what you just said, for me to go through these things.
Yeah.
For him to meet my need like nobody else could.
Yeah.
How good of a God he is to pick up his child and to comfort and to nurture me back to health, essentially. And that's the ultimate picture of all this. I believe this is doing it God's way, trusting in him, doing it the healthy, natural way. The body has already been programmed by him to do what it does. Mm-hmm. He's got the backup system of going into ketosis and autophagy and all that stuff that he knew we were going to be making fake food, processed foods, bro. Like stuff that shouldn't be able to just sit on the shelf. Yeah. Bread that's supposed to mold, but it doesn't for a year plus. Like all these garbage foods that we're eating, and I have eaten a huge amount of. And despite all of these things that I've done to my body to harm it, whether I cared or I didn't, he still allowed me to come back to a place of health and to be restored physically, emotionally. I've had a lot of emotional things, even with some family things, some other kind of more tender spiritual stuff going on, my relationship with him and how I view God as my father, a loving father, and not a father who's ready to just beat me down when I screw up and mess up again. And I can hear the voice in my head where I beat myself up when I mess up and do things all the time. I'm like, that's not who God is to me though. He's a loving father who's ready to serve and to pick me up and rejoice that I'm running to him. And he knew I was going to screw up. He knew I'm going to mess things up. Like, bro, I'm not perfect. I'm a sinner. Like, it is what it is. And despite all of that, he came to not just save me from myself at the point of salvation, but to save me daily on a moment by moment basis. And I can be made right with him at salvation, but to have a growing, fruitful relationship with him day by day as I grow my relationship with him, just like I would anybody else here on earth.
And what a story of hope. You know, we had alluded to this earlier, and you mentioned it as well, but, you know, he allows you to go through these things, but meeting you in the moment, meeting you in that moment of desperation, there's nothing else on earth that can do that. You know, like, well, God's not real. You just feel that way because you're scared. And it's like, until you have experienced when he knows exactly what you need in that moment and will meet you. There's nothing like that. And that's such a story of hope that there are people who don't have that. They don't have that relationship, or they did, and now they're too scared because they've been bad. You know, they haven't been good people. Man, just go there. Just go there. He's ready and waiting. And all you got to do is call on him and he'll meet you.
Absolutely.
Brother, I'm so glad you came. I don't want to rush you out. We have tornadoes coming at some point today. For the listeners, I guess I'll go ahead. I said that I wouldn't, but we did lose power. We have since spliced it in. Maybe you won't be able to tell. Maybe you will. I don't know. But if you did, and for some reason we were redundant at any point, we did lose power and come back. And Daniel drove 3.5 hours. I mentioned this earlier, to be down here and to share his story. And man, there's so much more I think that we can go into. I know there was other things that you wanted to get out. So I'm gonna give you an opportunity. Okay. All right, hang on. I'm going to give you a chance. I want to really highlight the fact you didn't just drive down here. I mean, yes, you and I are friends, and you wanted to help me out and be on the show, but you didn't drive down 3.5 hours to just do it because I'm your friend. You have a story to tell, and you have a unique way, I think, of connecting with people. You always make me feel welcomed and a friend, and you're warm, and you do that with these guys you never met in the shop. But you did that because you want to share hope, man. And dude, man, I'm so grateful for that, bro. So, all right. I know you got one more thing you want to share. So before we wrap, any final thoughts? Anything you wanted to share that maybe we didn't touch on? So 2 things. I'll kind of combine them and try to make it a little bit more concise, so I can get out of here safely. 2 things. So I've been told from my TikTok audience, where I've been really just sharing the story more aggressively on there than any other platform or anything.
I've been told by a lot of people, well, wow, you're amazing. You're my superhero. You're a whole bunch of stuff because you were able to do this. Now, going through cancer and having something that monumental in your life absolutely can give you the kick in the butt to make things happen, bro. Mm-hmm. Like it's almost like the ADHD, procrastination before a school test or something, and you cram everything at the last second. I just did
the zigzags.
The overdrive where you kick it into gear and you're like, all right, here we go. Let's send it, bro.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of that for sure, I guess. But it's the same mentality in my business that I've had. It's the same mentality that I had in sports, like I kind of mentioned previously. It's not a matter of if I'll be able to figure something out in my business or if I'm going to get through a wrestling match or, whatever, like lifting weights, all these things. Like, it's a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. I'm going to win. I'm going to succeed. The definition for me of succeed is, it may wildly differ from maybe what you envision succeeding to be.
Sure.
$1 million, 20 million, whatever that is for business, or getting your weight goal for lifting, or, anything like that. But specifically for me, I'll share this quick little story in wrestling. This happened a number of times, but there was a number of times where I was wrestling a guy who was an older year than I was, who was actually heavier than I was, and was clearly stronger than I was. You can actually see muscles on the heavyweight guy, which means, because he ain't just a blubber circle, he
ain't just heavy.
Pancake, and whoever falls first, gets squeezed out like a tube of toothpaste. Okay. I've wrestled stronger, older guys. Which means I was weaker and younger and all these things. And yet I've still been able to beat those guys. And not that I was, undefeated or anything. I was close to that my senior year and junior year, but I was able to beat those guys because my willpower and my ability to say, I don't quit. There's not an opportunity for me to quit on the dumpster business because it gets too hard and I just can't answer questions and figure things out. I'm not going to quit. That may look different for different people, but the ability to persevere, I'm not going to be stopped. I'm going to go the full distance. I may still lose, but I'm going to give him the run for his life, bro.
Yeah, well, it's either I'm gonna win or lose, and if I lose, I better be dead, kind of thing.
100%. It's the savagery, attacking mentality. That's how I kind of visualize and picture those things with this cancer, with business. I not all the time, but I picture myself on the wrestling mat, third round, and I'm down by a couple points. I got to get up, get out, and take him down. And I will find a way. I will not be stopped. And it's not, to me, it's not, when people might hear that, they might think, oh, he's arrogant, he's prideful. Like, I'm not even trying to go up to like, I'm number one, blah, 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 blah. It's like, not only will I not lose, I'm going to find a way to get to where I'm going to win. It may not be pretty. I don't have to brag about it, bro. Like, I'm just going to be that guy who's still standing at the end of this. And so with the cancer, with business, I would love to have grown my business much faster than I have. Cool. And for those who have, bro, I'm happy to cheer you on. I'm ready to hug you, bro. Like, let's freaking go. Buy more dumpsters, get more trucks. I'm still one man operator right now. I've gotten some more dumpsters. I am scaling some things, but it's just a matter of time for me. And so that mentality, I will not be stopped in those things. And so with this cancer, as you kind of mentioned, it's either you or me.
Yeah.
If I'm speaking to the cancer, like, one of us is not going to be here. And just to give you a hint, you're not going to be here.
Yeah, by the way, you're in remission.
So, I mean, peace out, bro.
Yeah.
So, it's quite literally, that is the aggressiveness. And one of the things I told myself, and I think I mentioned it earlier, if the doctor was going to do all of those devastating things to me, I have to be mentally locked in to the same degree, to the same savagery, to the same devastating effect, but only in a healthy way, doing it the natural way, to this cancer as they were planning on doing to me. And so getting to that point where I am ruthless. I am just, guerrilla warfare. See, that is the type of verbiage and stuff I think about, and I'm talking about, I'm visualizing throughout this whole process. And it's not like I'm angry fighting against cancer. This is something that's definitely controversial that kind of goes into my other half of this. Cancer itself, my understanding, and I could be wrong, I don't think I am, but cancer itself is not actually technically, or I'll say a cancer tumor, is not actually a problem that is bad, which is like, what are you talking about? You lost me, okay? The body specifically, when it's overrun, when all of your organs and everything, your microbiome, your gut is overrun, your immune system's all there, all the processing to use all of the fuel sources that you're putting in your body to then disperse and to send it to the brain, to send it to everything else you got going on in your body. When you're putting in poison, when you're putting in the processed foods, when you're putting in, all the chemicals, the laundry list of chemicals they're putting in, like bread, that could be like 2 or 3 things. Yeah. That could be just like,
could just be bread.
What are we doing here? Like, but instead for the preservatives, all the chemicals, red 40, all the colors of the freaking rainbow that they're putting in, all these chemicals into our bodies that are absolutely not able to be used and to be processed properly by the body. All of those things are going to be disrupting everything. And so when the body can no longer put those things into the fat cells in the form of carbohydrates and the fatty acids and different things, a part of that, the body, in order to protect you from all of those not nutrients, not natural things in your body, the body puts all of those into a cluster basically and hides it away. And it'd be better for you to have a tumor inside or outside. For me, it chose the outside, which frankly I'm grateful for, because I was able to see it. Otherwise, I might not have gotten tested.
And you wouldn't know where you're at. And you wouldn't know where you're at right now.
Exactly. All of that. And so it's actually a mercy of God, frankly, in my opinion, that I was able to see it and quickly, dramatically adjust to it. But the body put all of that away and consolidated it into one cluster, one main tumor, so that it wouldn't be going everywhere in my body. Otherwise, because it's overrun. My immune system, my whole body has been just devastated for decades. How I've treated it, overate, but also eaten the wrong things. Yeah. And so all of those toxins, all those things, you're not able to actually process anyways. Yeah. The body said, instead of you being just devastated everywhere, cancer-ridden everywhere, and you die very quickly, I'm going to consolidate it and hold it in one place until that gets overrun, and then we'll see where we go from there. Yeah. So to me, even in that sense, the body specifically was protecting me despite how I have so poorly treated it. It was protecting me from dying even faster, potentially. So it was still working to a certain level, even though it wasn't really working to fight against it and clear all that stuff out. It was like, this is the lesser of the evils at the moment, so we're just going to do this. So the reasons why the doctor couldn't answer me, where did it come from? Why? Okay, will it come back? I don't know. It could come back. Maybe it spreads. I don't know. He gave me just, I don't know. That's not important. All we have to do now is just cut this thing off. Okay, well, that's not an answer to me. Yeah. That's not a good enough answer for me. The fact that you don't know anything else, and the first thought is just to slice and dice. I'm sorry. At this point, doctors and weathermen are the only people who can have basically no answers or have all wrong answers and still keep their freaking job. Are you kidding me, dude?
A doctor has a lot less leeway.
It's craziness. So kind of leading me into, you can call it controversial, call it conspiracy, whatever at this point. To me, it's just painful truth that most of us are probably not ready for. And I've already had some people kind of aggressively come after me because they've had a loved one die from cancer, and they thought that the doctor did everything they possibly could. Maybe they were even nice and not an absolute jerk to them like my doctor was.
Maybe even
to me.
a little easier if they are a jerk.
Well,
but anyway.
Be upset at me because I'm suggesting that maybe this is not the route that is a real, not just to go into remission and to stop, temporarily pause button, but to actually be completely cured, zero cancer cells left, completely gone. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only person who has attempted this. There are people who are on hospice, stage 4 cancers of all types. It's grown and spread from multiple places all over the body. Organs are starting to shut down and fail and all of these things. And through fasting, through natural healing, fruits and vegetables, putting in whole foods, or the combination, or juicing, or water fasting, dry fasting, make complete and full recoveries, completely cured, zero cancer in sight, no organs damaged or destroyed. Like this is not just, wow, Daniel was just the only person. He's one of the chosen ones. It's possible for all of us. We were created in the image of God. God's no fool. He's not messing around. Now, our bodies and spiritually we're deteriorating physically and all these things.
Die at some point.
Like it is what it is. Okay, like I'm ready to be in my spiritual body down the road. Okay, like I'll be cooking then. Okay, but in the meantime, we have doctors and a whole government from our government to the medical industry to the pharmaceutical industry, hospitals to the food industry. It's all connected. Now, do your research, throw that out there for you. Most people don't, so it is what it is. But all of these industries are connected, and they're all being paid by each other to keep the facade, to keep the lie going. It is my personal belief, and this is very aggressive to say, but I've already experienced everything up to the cancer, and now today, another one bites the dust. I no longer have active cancer cells going on in my body, and it's just a matter of time before everything's just cleaned out like the rest of what's already happened.
Yeah.
I believe that probably, if not all, the majority of chronic diseases, probably every type of cancer out there, is not only able to be stopped through water fasting, through natural healing, through proper nutrition, and not just stopping the garbage, put the good stuff in, stop the bad stuff from going out, going in, and then let your body heal. Let it cook. Let it literally cook the garbage out of you. Get it out. Wring you out like a sponge. I believe almost every cancer and every chronic disease out there can be fully reversed. Anything to do with inflammation, which has to do more with animal products at this point, from what I'm learning. I could be wrong. But specifically, the majority of it is the processed foods. Everything, in my opinion, just about can be reversed through this natural healing. It may not be tomorrow, and there may be somebody out there it's so far gone, their body is failing in multiple ways.
If they got some neurological order, that... I'm thinking out loud, when I'm thinking of Alzheimer's or dementia. And once that is on set, it may be hard to be reversed. However, it could be prevented through eating healthy, like living this way. So, and it could be, I have seen actual studies of where through fasting, it slows it down by 95%.
Yep.
It's, you know what I mean? But never... You can't reverse it. However, you can buy yourself 15, 20 years through, proper fasting and stuff. Anyway, I know we can get off on the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So,
a few things to that. They say what type 1 diabetes is not reversible. It's for life.
It is what it is. Yeah.
There's actually somebody in my comments, and maybe they were lying, but I don't think so. In one of my videos where I was talking about my A1C going from 6.0 being pre-diabetic down to 5.2. This guy, I believe, it was a legitimate profile, so it wasn't just like a ghost account. This person had said, I've known I've had type 1 diabetes for quite a while, and I have been juicing, and I've been doing intermittent fasting for the last, like, I think almost up to a decade. And he is to the point now where he has 0 symptoms of being diabetic.
Wow.
He is no longer taking his insulin. He's no longer doing any of that. And he's almost he's almost to the point where the doctor is ready to officially say, you no longer have type 1 diabetes, fully reversing that. Now, I don't know. That's just some guy on the internet, okay? It is what it is. It's on the internet. I don't know. But type 1, potentially off of that guy's testimony, maybe that's true.
Here's what I'm convinced of. I'm convinced that fasting is a tool that was given to us by our Creator and communicated to us by our Creator. You can't convince me otherwise. And I think it was done so to prevent diseases such as cancer and other terminal illnesses. And again, I think this goes for world culture in 2025, but specifically America, specifically Bible Belt. We start talking about unhealthy Americans. Well, you're in Kentucky. So, we talked about this last night. That's a long conversation. I think it's culturally it's bred into us. Fasting is non-existent. And that's incorrect. The Creator talked about it multiple times in the Bible. He did it himself for 40 days. He's telling us that there is this tool that can not only reverse, but can prevent. Yep. And I think that I'm speaking to Christians here, all right? And really, I think anyone, whether you believe or not, I don't care, but specifically to Christians, you have a tool in your pocket that the Creator told you to use. Use it. And through your story, Tim fasted for 5 days. He did a 5-day fast. Listen, dude, he did that and inspired me to do one. And I said, well, I'm going to just do 24 hours. I'm just going to see what happens. So I did. And I got to 24 hours, but I was, I had I wasn't committed all the way.
Sure.
I didn't know how to break a fast. So I go 24 hours, and I go up to Mark's Feed Store, which is a local barbecue place. Some of the best barbecue. I mean, it's like a chain now. They got 5 or 6 locations, but really good local barbecue. Smack a full rack of ribs, dude. My heart rate was off the chain, dude. It jumped to like 165. I was like, I'm going to have to go to the ER right now. Because, you're on an empty stomach, anyway, long story short, go follow Daniel. Where's the best place to find you at?
As of right now, it'd be on TikTok, Daniel Stanton, my name. I think the or the username, whatever, it's Daniel Helper. Okay. I couldn't think of anything.
You'll see his face. I think it is Daniel Stanton is the name though.
Yeah,
52,000 followers,
something like that.
It'll be the guy with a lot of followers named Daniel Stanton.
And then I did create a new YouTube channel, and that's something I'm starting to pull videos from TikTok over to follow the journey and to get me up to speed on YouTube, because I want to be on both platforms. Yeah. Because of the nature of what I'm talking about and talking about cancer cures and other stuff going on, I want to be very careful. So on YouTube, the channel it's already up and available. I've got like 25 subs, only a few videos. It's called The Radical Helper. And that's going to be eventually where I'm probably going to be mainly at, but I'll probably be on TikTok for the foreseeable future as well. But those are the two places. But for right now, this very second, TikTok is where I'm at.
Gotcha. And then for the dumpster rental side, because I'm going to be sharing this in the dumpster rental groups. A lot of my clients are dumpster rental and people that, you were the Daniel, the dumpster rental helper. Right?
Yeah.
So you have what is your YouTube channel for the dumpster rental?
Daniel, the dumpster helper.
Gotcha.
So the word helper is kind of a theme in my life, and that's a whole other conversation. But God has helped me out in my life so much. I have the great physician who's doing the work in me, spiritually, physically, and he's been such a help to me. And I want to help others. I want to love people well. And so, that's my theme: being a helper. I might not be the best guy with all the information everywhere with everything, but I do want to be a help any way I can. So that's
That's where I'm at.
Well, brother, it was a blessing to have you on. I love you. I'm proud of you. We pray for you, and we'll continue to do so. If you're watching this, pray for Daniel. Go follow him and watch the journey. He's in remission. All right.
Let's freaking go.
So, prayers are being answered all the way around. So we're going to get him out of here before we get struck with a tornado so he can make it home safely. Guys, thank you so much for coming on and watching the By Design podcast. Please rate this podcast. Leave us a 5-star review. Share this podcast. We're trying to grow it. I think we got like 5 subscribers on YouTube, so we're very, very new. Maybe this is episode 3, so hopefully we'll have 15, maybe 5 an episode would be cool. Share this podcast. If you have any questions about the podcast specifically, send us an email to questions@bydesignshow.com. We would love to connect with you, talk with you, get you in contact with Daniel if that's something you're interested in. So reach out to us at questions@bydesignshow.com. Guys, thank you so much. Have a blessed day. We'll see you on episode 4.